This script was just so fantastic. Every time you do it, you get more out of it. And that's what we've been discovering constantly. We've been rehearsing this for 6 weeks now, maybe more, 4 or 5 nights a week. And every single time we come and do it, we find something new.
I did McDonough's Beauty Queen of Inishmaan about 10 years ago, in which I played Maureen, the daughter. And so I love McDonough's plays, and so I knew as soon as I started reading this one that I'd want to be in it. And it's the first time I've ever had to act older than I am. So I just thought, well, the challenge of trying to be a 90-year-old, crotchety old Irish woman was just too good to resist, really.
I just think it's a very funny play, and yeah, Anne, there's no saying no to Anne, so that's basically why that's how I got involved.
Any play that can sort of maybe howl with laughter as I'm reading it, I think might be a good one to at least try out for. And yeah, lucky enough, I was given a part.
There were 2 things really. One, because it was being directed by Anne, who I've worked with many times before. She's a terrific director, and I thought, this is going to be a good production. I hadn't seen the play before. I'd read reviews of it when it was playing in the West End and moved to Broadway, and I thought, I'd love to see the play, but the opportunity to be in it was really appealing.
A friend of mine told me about it. He'd heard about it, and he was really interested in auditioning because he's from an Irish background. And then when I realised what the play was and who it was by, I was really interested in auditioning because The Pillow Man, written also by McDonough, was like the first play I ever read. So I was quite interested to do something by him, a very black comedy.
Also the whole ensemble, the people that I'm working with are just so good. The cast is so good, the youngsters are just giving such good performances. It's a pleasure to be with everybody.
I suppose like any character, it's hard to get in because you have to become familiar with them, as it were, and the more familiar you are with them, the easier it becomes to become them, I suppose. John Wilson, who's very, very good, he's a choreographer and a dancer, and I worked with him before when we did a performance of Equus, and he choreographed all the horses and the way that they move, and so it was great to work with him again. I was quite familiar with him, and he's utterly fantastic. He's one of these people who comes in and within an hour he's done more work than most people would be able to generate in a day. And he comes in and shows me what we're supposed to be doing. We spoke through what exactly Billy's disabilities were and how exactly his leg is crippled and how exactly his arm is crippled, because that's all the information you get in the script. For the character, it's Billy, 1 leg, 1 arm crippled. That's it.
Okay, do it again.
And it's just
yeah,
and get your balance back again. But it's got to be. Try to throw up. Okay.
all right.
I think he's a character that everybody wants to see succeed. I think everybody has felt underappreciated before. I think everybody has felt underestimated. I think everybody has felt like they aren't being given the credit for what they can do. They aren't being given the opportunity to show anybody what they can do. They've been sort of filed away as, well, in this instance, the cripple. And that's it, because the people on the island presume that Billy's brain doesn't work because his body doesn't work properly. Even though his brain is entirely fine. He has a problem with his arm and his back and his leg, and that's it. Billy is the only person to whom his disabilities are not important.
It's close. I mean, he's almost the villain of the piece, in a sense, the character I'm playing. He's bombastic, opinionated, childish, petulant, all the rest of it, So. He's not a nice man at all. He has to come across as really quite unsympathetic, which I find rather difficult. I keep getting told he's too likeable. So I thought, oh God. If he was shouting and screaming and trying to kill people, it'd be fine. But it's this kind of that childish behaviour, and I'm finding it very difficult to find him. But I'll get him.
He's come to this community, and he's obviously the only doctor on the island. He's a bit of an outsider, and so I think he's quite disparaging about the people on the island. I mean, he likes some of them, doesn't like others, and is basically he doesn't fit into this community easily. He's quite appalled, I think, at the behaviour of some of the people.
I keep thinking about my mother, which is so unkind, which is completely unlike my mother. My mother didn't drink at all, and she certainly didn't swear. But my mum did die last year, and she was 91, and she died in her home, and seeing her in that environment and seeing her reduced and sort of much more shriveled is a picture that sort of helps. But that's about as close really as the likeness comes, I think.
He's kind of a friend of Billy's, and he's just lost his wife, and he's kind of the guy in the community who people turn to get a lift in a boat, basically. He's also a short temper and is fond of a drink and a row, and he's not to be trifled with.
It's tricky, obviously. I mean, it's a different time. It's a different country with a different accent and culture and sort of mindset and stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm sort of pretty lucky in that the character isn't the sharpest knife of the bunch.
I think her aggression, it's not. I mean, there's definitely some things in life that bring out an aggressive side of me, but definitely not everyday activities. Not the way that she experiences things. She sort of has aggression very much bubbling on the surface at all times to kind of protect herself, I think, from a young age.
Because I'm changing my voice completely, and the personality, and getting the voice and the personality and the accent all together is actually quite challenging.
It's harder in a play like this because we've all got to adopt the Irish accent, and that's not easy. Anne, being Irish, knows whether you're doing it incorrectly or correctly, so she's always there, ready to help. And it does add actually a sort of extra level, because you're not only trying to develop the part, remember the lines, but you're also trying to remember the pronunciation too. So there are a lot of hurdles to jump, but it's quite challenging.
But we have got some entirely English actors who have worked incredibly hard at getting on top of the accent, and I think being surrounded by genuine Irish has helped them a lot, because the lilt and the rhythms and the pronunciation, and fortunately we have enough of us around who would sort of just say no, a little more like this, and that's helped them, but they have mastered it beautifully, I must say.
I'm from the west of Ireland, so Inishmaan is an island Inishmaan is one of 3 islands off the coast of Galway. So a lot of the characters, and I grew up in a rural part of Ireland, so there's a lot of characters in this play, my own included, who I'd be very familiar with and would have seen before, maybe with slightly different accents, but so it would probably be a little easier for me than the rest of the cast.
Particularly trying to keep up the Irish accent, that's hard. That's very tricky, and I've had so many notes about just very, I mean, some large bits and other very, very minute pieces of accent work, which I am desperately trying to get right.
It's been one of those things you can't get through a rehearsal without somebody bursting out laughing on stage, basically.
I think probably the memories that I'll take away the most is Niall, the other Niall, who plays Bartley McCormack, getting pegged with eggs most nights at rehearsal. I have to say I enjoy that very much.
Pegging in Irish is, in the Irish idiom, is throwing.
And he's been walking around here somewhere wearing shorts. So not only is he getting egged on stage, he has to wear shorts on stage, so that makes me very happy. So there's endless hours of entertainment.
That hasn't been easy so far. That's been a rather messy situation. Hasn't been fun. It's been fun for everyone else. Yeah, I get a fair few eggs in the gob, which isn't the easiest or most pleasant experience. There's a lot more clean-up and admin to do.
So if you just, for any other reason, just come to see a fella getting pegged with eggs, done. What more do you want on a Friday night?
We put him in a plastic bin bag, and Gabriella practiced smashing eggs on his head, and we all had a great laugh at that.
At